SummerSlam is very much in the rear view mirror. Summer holidays are very much in the rear view mirror as SmackDown start to lay the path towards Extreme Rules. Universal Championship matches, Becky Lynch doing a runner, and Paul Heyman stuck between a rock and a hard place as we deep dive another SmackDown. Welcome to the Smack Attack. Money James McIver back alongside my partner in crime, John Enright, on location at the Boathouse. Another show. How are we doing? A bit of a heads up. You might hear a bit of an echo as we do this show. I don't know how it turns out on your end, but we're on location. So we're not in our nicely well set up equipment area. So be prepared. There may be some echo, but I'll try and keep my voice low as we do this. How are we doing? Are we doing okay?
Yeah, I mean it's a weekend. It's a holiday weekend at the lake. So
yeah.
It's the end of summer. Spectacular. You've got the U.S. Open this weekend. You've got the start of college football here in America. My alma mater, the University of Louisiana, goes up against the University of Texas, and it's going to be a good match because we're ranked in the top 25 this year, and starting off the season, and we're returning 21 players from a team that went 10-1 last year, beating Iowa State, thumping them pretty good. And Texas has got a lot of new coach, new quarterback, new system, all kinds of things. So, Texas might have a little bit more than they bargained for with the old Raging Cajuns. So we'll see. So, it's a good weekend to be an American because it's Labor Day weekend. We all get Monday off. Most of us get Monday off for work. So,
nice.
What's to be upset about, really? So
totally.
Except for SmackDown.
That too.
Yeah.
So also within like 2 minutes, you've made me look like a total skyver. You're on holiday, as you've quoted. You're on your holiday boathouse. I was on holiday and didn't do the show, so I've got no excuse now. I'm like, I was on a roller coaster.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I technically was on when I went on holiday for 2 weeks because of travel and stuff. So I was 2 weeks in a row back to back. With going to Gulf Shores in Florida and all that. So
And the live chat is already up and running. Canada Spaceman timed it perfectly for coming onto the show. Well done. Sonic the Hedge Rat back on as well. Thanks for coming and joining us on the Smack Attack. We'll look forward to hearing what you've got to say as we go through the show. We're just going to get stuck into it today. I would love to tell you my story about my holiday, but we'll maybe do that another time. This is a SmackDown that neither of us were impressed with. Just to really put this out to the gate. I have my issues coming out of SummerSlam. I am looking forward to chatting about them a little bit as we get into some things I'm looking forward to. Other things I'm a bit like, and I think a lot of people know exactly where I'm going to be heading to with that one. But how is it like post SummerSlam? We're setting the table for Extreme Rules. Do you think the SmackDown done the job?
No.
Oh wow.
I mean, I really don't care at this point. To me, it doesn't do anything because they're focusing on next week's live at Madison Square Garden.
It really felt like they were pushing hard on that last night.
That was the hard push, of Madison Square Garden. We're going to be live at Madison Square Garden next week. Pat.
Oh, hello, John. You there? We've lost John. he's disappeared for us. Oh, there he is. I can hear him. There we go.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Who knows? I'm in. We're out in the country. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Pat McAfee is going to be back. He's feeling better, so he'll be back next week for live. SmackDown.
Thank God. Thank the heavens, because Corey Graves on this SmackDown was pretty boring.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, we called that match at WrestleMania. I'm like, all right, yeah,
you did. That was no fun.
No.
It just didn't have the same energy. I think you can tell when they're missing people. It shows itself, especially Pat McAfee. As soon as I remember, I know I was off for it, so I was kind of lucky at the time. But when it came out that he was down with COVID 2 days after SummerSlam, I was devastated because I knew it was coming. I was like, "This is not."
Well, I mean, it's just like in the Boogs entrance, you don't have that same energy, because Pat McAfee is just so fired up about that, and then Corbin's just like, I made a mistake, and it lacked so much. So
yeah,
the
life of the show was gone a little bit.
At least
felt
Pat
me.
McAfee makes you feel good, about it.
Yeah,
So
you feel kind of rewarded for being invested as a fan. And you can he gets excited, you can get excited. It's cool. It's a fun time to be.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
Yeah.
So so the tone of the show just starting off, it was like going in. So
yeah,
I just I do like the fact that they do the little promo and then we're getting a wrestling match. So
yeah.
I'm liking the start of the show in that aspect. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not it's not AEW where we're just starting off with a match, but it's starting off strong. I think what the Usos started off this week with coming out saying a little something about the Street Profits and how they want to get some, they can come get some, and essentially, and then we had a match, which
Very
cool,
good.
and it was for the titles. So
no, it wasn't. It was a contenders.
It
match.
wasn't.
So it was a match
right.
for a match. It was a match for the title.
Right. Yeah.
They were getting extreme rules. Fucking hate this concept. I hate it with a passion. And there's another one coming. There's another concept I hate with a passion that's coming next week. We've talked about it at length. And it's like, what's the point? Like the Street Profits were always going to be natural contenders for the title.
Right.
I feel like there's an easier, well, not an easier way, but a less on the nose attempt to get them into this position. Like have an 8-man tag and have Montez Ford score the pin, or I don't know, have one-on-one matches, or have an actual number one contenders match. Those are rare.
Oh wow, that would be a brilliant concept. So we can know who could be. Who'd have thought we could do that, and then maybe we know who can contend for the title.
Who's the best ranked tag team currently?
How
Mental idea that. How did they ever do it before? But yeah, so it was a good match, bit of energy to start the show. Montez Ford doing Frog Splash. He's taking the piss now. He's just like, I'm just going to start spinning as I do it.
Yeah, because he can. I mean, the dude is, not only is he full of charisma, but just full of athleticism. I mean, just that Frog Splash where he just spins and you're just like going, what? Wait, what? Like, I mean, a Frog Splash in and of itself let's be honest, as a wrestler, that's a pretty high risk move. Because, I mean, you're having to jump, you're having to time your jump, space it properly, do everything timing wise and land in a certain way where you're protecting the wrestler, but you're taking it on the knees and elbows, for the most part, which can't be good. It can't be fun. And so, and then to have the presence of mind and athleticism to spin in the air and still land safely, that is incredible. It really is. He
also did it at such like a high angle as well. He sort of takes up and just his head goes to the ground before his feet does. It's not like flat as he hits it. It looks pretty breathtaking sometimes when he does it. But it's interesting that like this is a setup for Extreme Rules. Obviously, the story of like the first bit of the show was more sort of established. I think for me it felt like this match wasn't so much just the tag title match, but more establishing Roman Reigns is in charge.
Right.
We're reestablishing that because it was they were watching the match on the couch, watching it on the TV, and then after the result, Reigns is like, "Bring my cousins to me." Like, okay,
right.
Which I don't think we actually got followed up on after that, did we? We just
no, I don't think they did because there was that one thing I think towards the end where they're in the room. We don't know what was said. Yeah, and then Paul Heyman talks to Roman later. But that was it. I think. Oh yeah. But again, this is one of those things of like, okay, now what's the deal? Because this ends in a disqualification. So does that mean we don't have contenders? I mean, or are the Street Profits naturally contenders?
Because it was Jay just coming out and just beating down on was it Dawkins for partly no reason, which is a weird rule as well when you think about it. The most tag team matches, anyone can jump in at any time and do whatever they want. And then randomly, when they decide to, when they feel like it, they'll have a random disqualification because tag team rules suddenly matter again.
Right.
it's bizarre. It just doesn't really chime well with me when they do stuff like that. It's like y'all have this exact same match 2 weeks previous, and the same thing will happen, and the referee will let it go with two different teams, like the Alpha Academy and the Mysterios or whatever, and it'll be fine because they're doing stuff. But then as soon as someone just takes the time, and it dragged, by the way, it dragged on because you knew it was coming, you knew it was happening. And as soon as you go around, the referee saying, "Stop, or I'm going to have to disqualify you." As soon as they said that, I was like, "He's going to disqualify him." That's over. And they took a long, long time to get there. Oh, John's gone and back again. How we doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to a place where the internet's a little better. Sorry,
we're moving to the bathroom. That's where
we're not moving to the bedroom.
Oh, the bedroom. Ooh, it's getting sexy all of a sudden.
It's about to get sexy.
Yeah, I hope it's a comfy bed. Whoa! Wait, there we go. VHS image there. Jesus. But yeah, it's weird how they spin the rules however they like, and they get a bit lazy with it. And this one was just a lengthy drag to a rule that really gets enforced until they decide it has to. I get it. They get the win. It's avoiding a clean pin over the Usos, who can't really afford to lose, but you don't want the Street Profits to. But you need the Street Profits to win. So always that conundrum they love to set themselves that they don't need to set. Job done. I suppose there's going to be Extreme Rules. It makes sense to have this match now. The Mysterios look like they're going to be having their own issues going forward, that should be fun to see. But yeah, all in all, it was just a bit of a good match, but then a sort of ending. And it seems to be the trend for what you'll see tonight. There's a lot of good in there, and I'll admit that there's some good things that are about this show, but it's a bit outweighed by the You're like, I don't know how I feel about that. That's maybe not the best move. Sort of like what we see. So after the match, we see the Usos beat down Dawkins, and Ford does this big over the top leap and nearly dies doing it. So top man. Is that pay-per-view bunny you're getting for that? I hope so.
Yeah.
But we get to one of the bits that got me going through this show, and it got more juicy as it went on. Paul Reigns tells him to get his cousins, so we get to that. But he walks out, and he's bumped into Kayla Braxton, who is sort of ask. Well, this I don't quite remember what it was she was asking. They were sort of starting a conversation, not quite getting there. They were sort of just steering it until the phone rang.
Right. Well, and it was like she caught him off guard. He got scared of her. Like it's almost he's still. It's almost like Paul Heyman's now that paranoid character waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so she scares him in this interview, at first, and then they have this conversation, and then the phone rings, and the ringtone is James. Do you want to tell everybody what the ringtone was?
Brock Lesnar's theme song.
Yeah, I know.
I dare say, it's a recording of Brock Lesnar's theme song as he comes out on a show, because you hear the same crowd noise twice as it rings. It's like, fuck's sake. So they tried to patch in a crowd reaction on the fucking ringtone. I was like, you can't help themselves. They can't help themselves.
No.
they literally have the theme song. They could just download the MP3, put it on the phone, and let it go. I mean, that's what we all do when we have a ringtone on our phones now. You just download it and put it on. I can't believe this. I love the idea though, because it's like I love how Paul's got a Brock Lesnar thing ringtone. So it's like, all right, okay, here comes the phone bill.
Yeah,
and he looks shaken.
Yeah,
he's absolutely shaken. It's like,
Kayla's like, "Oh, you want to take that? You go ahead and take that." Like
she was enjoying
it, ribbing him at this point. Like
absolutely relishing it. It's like,
yes,
you're gonna phone him. You're in trouble. Oh, all right, okay, we'll do the interview. He's gonna get you. And sure enough, it was he just asked me to pass on a message.
Yeah,
which he did in earnest. Then a weird thing happened. So he gets a bit over the phone. He has this one-way discussion. He's like, I'm going to go and I'll speak to Roman. Then he turns and bumps into a janitor.
Yeah,
and tells him he's taking out the trash. He can start with Kayla. And the janitor starts laughing. It turns out to be Big E with the contract.
Yeah, just laughing
away. So is this what we're leading to? Like Biggie is just going to laugh his way to the big contract.
I don't know. Like
It's weird.
I did not even understand the whole purpose of this. Like, especially, like, I understand the purpose of the Brock Lesnar part, but then the Big E part, I'm going, what?
I suppose it's like they're teasing him to be the spanner in the works. You know, he's like, you can win him, but I might just.
You never know. You never know.
Anytime I can have it, and so, and it's I quite like it. Biggie's good for that. He's good for doing that silly thing. He can play it off, and it's always naturally funny. I'll never not find it funny when he does stuff like that. True. But at the same time, it's also weird. Like weird time.
Yeah.
He just came off that thing with Baron Corbin where he was being proper angry, and now he's back to being goofy and silly with the briefcase.
Right.
We had a 2
but
week break
to me, that's one of the things about Big E that I like is that he can flip that switch.
Oh, you can switch on and off.
You know, because that's how some people are. You know, they can do that. You know, I mean, you know, when I played American football, it was very interesting because people were like, "Oh my God, like we didn't realize you were that tough and ruthless," and not ruthless in the sense of like I played to the whistle, but you know I played hard. You know, I mean I would go, but then off the field it's like you're like the nicest dude ever, but when you're on the field and the whistle blows, man, oh my God, you were like an animal, and then I like that because to me that shows depth of character and that shows the ability of someone to like really that they're able to control their emotions. That's a neat thing for me, and that shows a depth of character. So I like that. So it's like, okay, cool. He can do that when he wants to, but it felt out of place at the time. With Paul Heyman and a little weird. But I understand what they're going for, but it just didn't seem like the right moment. Like I felt like it would have been more effective if he would have just been like, Roman Reigns finishes, the match tonight, and Big E's just like standing there, like on the side of the stage with the Money in the Bank, right there if he needs to, but he's not going to. But if he needs to, to me, that would have felt more effective than him being in a janitor suit popping up on Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman is not who he's cashing in on. He's cashing in on Roman. And what mind games does this play on Roman if he's doing it to Paul Heyman, who Roman doesn't see this, Yeah. So storytelling wise, it doesn't quite make sense, but I understand what they were going for. So
he's more sort of getting into Paul Heyman's head a little bit for that. It's been interesting to see how it plays out, but he's sort of kind of waiting in the wings. We'll see how it goes. They're already talking about it in the chat. We've already got a couple of comments about this. The next segment, if you can't already tell, Becky Lynch. Right, she's back 2 weeks. I'm fed up. I'm pretty fucking fed up, man. I love her to bits, but the problem being is they fucked it. Right out of the gate. So I'll just give my thoughts on the SummerSlam thing. Bit unnecessary. I feel it was just totally undone 6 months worth of work with Bianca Belair in an amount of seconds, just to get a big pop for Becky coming back. Everyone worked it out. No one was happy, so thought we'll turn her heel. And they
really haven't either.
They're struggling with that, and included in this promo. I'm not buying her as a heel.
No,
I really can't. She's just doing the same stuff that got her in as a babyface, that got her popular the first time. That sort of thing is you can't just play off that. I need her to do something to really make me believe she's a bad guy.
Right. And here's the problem. And what does that do? You got to jump Bianca Belair. You got to do these dirty things. She hasn't done that. And, she even made a mention, well, they're making me out to be the bad guy. You weren't prepared. That was on you. And so to me, that's like, okay, that's not necessarily a heel promo. It's just like, okay, I'm not a bad guy. I just did what I did.
She's showing her hands. She's like, look, this is what it was. Like, you knew I was coming back at some point. I said I was ready. It's your fault. Anything can happen in the WWE. Can't help you on that one. Sorry, son. It was a bit of an odd one. But my also conundrum is we've got a heel problem in WWE. I mean, I suppose it's fitting it's a women's division that there's a shitload of heels. But it's like, it's all heels.
Mm-hmm.
we've got Becky now, Bailey when she comes back, Sasha Banks, Carmella, Zelina Vega's a heel. You could maybe say that Natalia and Tamina are tweeners. They could be heel at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I missing? You've got
Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan, babyface. I'll take that. And you've got Bianca Belair, who's a babyface. Shotzi and Knox are babyface, I suppose.
Yeah.
When
Naomi's back.
Naomi's back. Well, she's back.
Well, sort of.
Yeah. Fucking hell. That one was, oh, Jesus. So I suppose it's a bit balanced. Maybe I'm not giving them a chance. The problem being is the heels are the ones that are on TV.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are. Toni Storm was...
made an appearance.
What?
She made an appearance.
She made an appearance.
Yeah.
Fuck knows what she is. Or where she is. She's gone. But it's like... It was just so bizarre. It's just sort of like, it doesn't add up to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's enough in a Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. It should be big enough on its own merit, if you know what I mean. Like, we've got the biggest women's star that they've had. You've got Bianca Belair, who's the rising star, who's done she has done a good, when you think about it, she's done a great job to get to where she was this month, this year. Man, she's had to carry that division quite a bit. And she got done dirty at SummerSlam. But it's like, it's easy enough. You could set this match at SummerSlam. You don't even have to have a match. You could set it up at SummerSlam. And me and you, we're gonna go. We're going to do it. And if you wanted to make Becky Lynch the heel, if you really honestly wanted to make her the heel, you'd have them face off at SummerSlam. And you're like, just don't do it for me. Don't do it for me. Nah.
Yeah.
We're not doing this now. We'll do this on my time. Something like that, you know what I mean? Kind of get them heated up off that. But I think they're trying to just cover their tracks, that they know they've made a mistake, the fans aren't happy, and it seems to be this lazy approach. It's like, well, the fans were upset about that, let's turn them heel. So, got to earn it. You really have to earn those things. You know, you could have this feud boil over for months and months. You can have the competitive element where we've got Bianca earning this match. Maybe she wins the first one. Becky doesn't take that well and starts to do a bit more underhanded tactics, starts to be a bit of the darker Bailey that when she just, when like she turned heel originally and just smashed Charlotte Flair after that match.
Right.
You know, little things like that, get that edge back, and you can rematch. Like this is like similar to the Sasha Banks thing if they'd done it right, where they could just keep it going for a while. I don't even know where they go after this.
Yeah.
I don't even know where this goes. You know what I mean? Like, Bianca kind of deserves to get that title back and get another go at things. But at the same time, do you give it to someone that's not named Becky Lynch right now? It's a conundrum. Not a bad conundrum.
It really is. But you're seeing this a lot with WWE. It's almost like they don't feel like where they need to go. You know, I mean, we're gonna, and then we'll talk about this later, but with some of these other storylines. And so, you know, but yeah, this is one that they've chuffed it bad, as you guys like to say over there. And and they're not doing anything to make Becky despisable. They're doing everything they can to make Becky unwatchable. You know,
they're doing like lowest common denominator booking with her.
Mm-hmm. And it's not working, and people are already turning against it, you know, and that's is a property that you had that was hot, and yet you know, and you're just not doing it. It would have been a simple thing where, you know, every week you do something where Becky, like last week, you know, Bianca comes out and Becky goes, you know what, you're right. She goes to shake her hand, she pops her again with an elbow and says, you weren't ready for me. Like every week there's something that she does like that, and you know, you weren't ready for me kind of thing. Yeah. And you've turned her heel with just a simple proposition of, you keep knocking her out, you're not ready for me kind of thing, and you don't deserve this title. That's heat right there. All of a sudden you've booked heat on Becky Lynch, you know, who's the man, and now you've done something to where you're not ready for me, you know. And that's, I think, the important part in understanding where we're at with this. Yeah. So,
and even have have her talk about being like a fighting champion and wanting to fight the best, and then have like a number one contenders match with Bianca Belair and Zelina Vega. And you know that Zelina Vega's hardly won any matches. She usually loses to Bianca Belair, and then have Becky attack Zelina. So then Bianca gets disqualified and Becky gets the easy match.
Yeah.
Like little things like that. I mean, maybe that's a bit too complex for WWE booking, but those things where it's like betraying the trust of the fans properly,
Right.
like, as a character, rather than just like covering your tracks like a fool.
Right.
And this promo really sums it up a little bit because she comes out, moans about not getting a "you deserve it" chant, which I'm pretty sure she got last week, by the way.
Right.
And and this is it. She complained about that, and then she got one, and it was cool. And she talks about how she was excited to face Bianca Belair, and then feels like she's being portrayed as the bad guy, and said it's all because of Bianca Belair not being prepared. It's all her fault, basically. It's like she mentioned Sasha Banks, named her by name, and because she went down. I'm curious. Did you guys talk about Sasha Banks last week?
We briefly mentioned it, but yeah, no, we're not.
Weird situation with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Weird situation. She sort of just dropped off the face of the planet. So I think she's.
There's reports of COVID, but who knows? At this point, they haven't said it. Like unlike with Pat McAfee, which they were quick to point that out. But with her, it's not been the same thing. So
I believe, I heard a rumor saying it was like her vaccination stance that might not have helped her. And she's a bit loose with the rules as well when it comes to their bubbles. But that's all I've heard. It's not. I'm not saying that as like gospel. Don't take that and put it on like a news report or anything like that. I'm just kind of going from what I've seen in rumors and online things and things like that. There, but it seems like the chat might have been she was in a bit of hot water over flouting the rules, as it were. In that sense. But yes, mentioned Banks Belair. She said Lynch says Belair knows she isn't the best, calls herself the EST, but she can't beat the man. And she said this weird thing. It was like, you can't beat experience, and that's why she won. Like one punch, because that's experience. Like, because that's how it works, eh?
Right. Yeah, exactly how it works.
25-year-old boxer versus, I don't know, like a 75-year-old Mike Tyson. Let's just go to the future. Yeah, Tyson's knocking him out at 75. Anyways. He's experienced, so I good. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the argument could be said. Look at George Foreman at 40-something years old, comes back and wins the heavyweight championship.
True.
Did he have experience? Yes, but he could still punch like a mule too. So I mean, there is that aspect of it. Does experience count? Yes, it does. Like as I mentioned before, University of Texas faces University of Louisiana today. The Raging Cajuns. They're returning 21 people. Whereas Texas is almost a completely new program, new coach, new quarterback. Does that make a difference? Yeah, it does. Yeah. Especially when a team has a 10-1 record from last season and they're returning 21 players out of your 22 on the field. I mean, that's a big deal, and experience does matter. So I think there is a moment to that, but in this aspect, it doesn't make any sense, especially with the way it was done.
Totally.
It'd have been different if it would have been a wrestling match and Becky does some kind of veteran maneuver to get the pin to win, but none of this applies.
Cunning, using her cunning to get that over rather than absolute battles of comments just came in here. I'll go with the first one that I had a chuckle at. This your screen just now reminds me of Scrabble porn too in the 90s. John's screen right now. We've all been there. Sorry, it's a head track. Came up with a belt of a comment here. If you want to make Becky Lynch a heel, put her with Seth and have them be Triple H and Steph 2.0. There you go. That's easy. It's easy and it's achievable. And you know what I mean? Like they're good with power couples and like it works. They're parents. They're married. They're there, and you want them both heels connected too. Connect the dots.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they'll do it after the Edge thing. I don't know, but that just again seems too easy for WWE's liking. But that'd be the surefire way to do it. Connect her with an absolute out and out heel that people are booing, and is doing great heel work, by the way. Great heel work at the moment in Seth Rollins, so it would make a lot of sense. Belair comes out and says the championship was more to her than a title. The moment at SummerSlam keeps playing in her head. She accomplished so much, but lost it all in 26 seconds, and it was embarrassing. But she stands in that. She'll take it on the chin. She's going to bring herself up by bringing other women down, make excuses. She did talk about earning her title shot. She said she earned her shot, and it's not a matter of if that happens, it's when the rematch happens. And she tries to talk her into having the match tonight because Roman Reigns is having his title match, and Becky just goes, I don't care what Roman does. No.
Right.
And walks away.
Yeah.
Weak sauce. Weak
Okay.
sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, was that supposed to get heat? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't heat.
Attempt.
Yeah, it was an attempt. It was an awful attempt at it. It didn't do anything. It's like, okay, great. Yeah. Oh, and and I don't know if this was fake crowd noise or the crowds really did boo, ooh, like because he mentioned Roman Reigns, and I don't care what Roman Reigns does. Ooh, like
Yeah.
Roman Reigns doesn't care what Becky Lynch does. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a two-way street. They don't care about
connected.
each other. Yeah. So I mean, it was a way to kind of connect. Oh, look, I'm a heel like Roman Reigns because we don't care. But it was awful. I'm done with this, James. I can't. This was just awful.
Yeah,
I can't anymore with this one. It just there's so many ways that you and I can already see how to do a better job with booking heat, and it's just it just fell flat all over the place.
I spent a whole 5 minutes booking Becky Lynch as a heel, and I feel like we would have done well better than what they've done so far.
Yeah,
that amount of thought that we put into that, and we're not even like in the writers' room or anything like that.
Right.
It's poor. It's poor stuff, and we're coming in a pay-per-view pretty soon. You want that to be as strong as you can because that's supposed.
But are we? Because the whole night has been about next week, Madison Square Garden. We're live in Madison Square Garden, and let's be honest.
I suppose I did have that throw. I'll throw it in now, even though it's a little bit about 10-15 minutes after the fact. They confirmed that there's going to have the match at Extreme Rules.
Right.
Do that in a backstage segment where they said, "Oh, look, I'm not. I'll do it in my time. I'll do it when I'm good and ready." It's like, great. It's gonna be Extreme Rules, and that was that. So seemed to react pretty angrily to that, like a heel does. But
and we're gonna have a contract signing next week at Madison Square Garden.
Fuck off with that. Fuck off with that. Every pay-per-view, it's no, and it's starting to happen with the women's division all the time now. Mm-hmm. No, just no. I've had my say on this. It needs to die. It's outdated. It's overused. None of them are good. They don't end well. They don't make sense. And they're not. And they're going to do it in Madison Square Garden. Mm-hmm. That crowd deserves better, man. That crowd deserves so much better than a contract signing. And that's a surefire way to kill that feud. Yep. Contract signing. I hate it. Yep. I hate it with a passion. In better news, though. Wait, by the way, Tony Storm appears on this show.
Oh, yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. Ziggler asked Tony Storm to come watch our match, and then she says she's going to be rooting for Boogs, like we all will, because there's our boy, Boogs. Boogs. The busiest man in show business, by the way, Boogs. Yeah. He comes out for his match to play out Nakamura, then has the match, and then after the match, he's handed his guitar to play the fucking thing after the match with Nakamura's theme song.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Hey, you're over.
Give him a breather, for God's sake.
You're over, man. You're over. And I mean, so here's the question, though. I mean, Ziggler was jobbed out here. I mean, this was
big time.
Not a long match.
Big time.
Yeah. And I mean, and not that this is not something we haven't seen from Ziggler, but honestly, I was kind of surprised that this match was as short as it was.
You see something in Boogs then? Do you think you see something in? Because he looks like a hoss here.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, when you compared him to Ziggler, man, he did look like a hoss. And I mean, you're seeing that, especially standing next to Nakamura. You see that, but he does have charisma. Him and Shinsuke both. They just ooze charisma like nobody's business. It's just dripping off of them. And so, he
seems to be getting into it more as well.
Yeah.
He seems to be starting to get his groove with his character.
He's owning it. And, I think they see money on these two together and then eventually individually, And so, I was wondering if he was going to have the match because he came out with he didn't, when he was wrestling with Shinsuke, he didn't have a shirt on or anything. He just came out in his,
his
gear and played the guitar. This time he had a shirt on. So I'm thinking, wait, I thought he's wrestling. Then Shinsuke comes out and I'm like, wait. And then Shinsuke kind of looks like he was in his gear. And I'm like, wait, so is Shinsuke? Wait, I thought Boogs is wrestling. And then he takes the shirt off and he goes and wrestles. And I'm like, Okay, so I guess they don't have, and this is my thought, is they don't have an entrance for him yet. He's over because the guitar playing for Shinsuke's, theme song,
Yeah.
and that's what he's over for. And so there's no need for a theme song yet because he's the sidekick still. They're starting to build him to be more than the sidekick, but this is the slow build to build him up to be something more. So he's not going to have a theme song, which is I'm okay with, because the dude could lick a guitar like nobody's business, and I'm excited for it. I just found it interesting that this match is maybe 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Not very long.
Mostly Boogs.
Yeah,
apart from a DDT spot.
And so I'm okay, but I mean, I'm okay because he's a fresh new character, and I'm liking what's going on. And I'm interested to see where they're going for it.
Yeah, I'm also here for that pump handle power slam.
Yeah, I've missed something like that. It's a great classic move.
He does it because I was like, the one I remember fondly is the test one where he puts him up and just and falls with him, and it's such a good rate. But I like this one where Goose just grabs him, just throws him. It's like pump handle. Yeah. I looked great. I looked absolutely brilliant. I was like, I'm cool with that. I quite like a pump handle power slam.
Yeah.
It's underused.
And then they said something. Are they going to call it the Boogs Cruise? Because it sounded like.
I like that.
I think they mentioned something about that at the end.
Taking the Boogs Cruise.
Taking the Boogs Cruise. Which I'm like, if they called it that, I'm like, I'm for it. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great. So,
wrong in my book.
Yeah, at this rate right now, this was a good match. It was great to get Boogs over. I'm enjoying the character. And so, I hope they continue to do good with, like, it's weird. You have Becky, which they're doing crap on, who's a named character, and then you got this guy Boogs, who's an unknown character, and they're doing really good with it.
Quietly doing really good. Doesn't need much effort. And then when Pat McAfee comes back, it'll be even better.
Oh yeah,
because they'll really mix that up.
Because it made a difference when he comes out and Corbin is just, he's not excited about it, and he's like, I made a mistake. This is like, it's just like, no, I want McAfee back, who's standing on the table, jamming out, going, let's Boogs, get out of the way, Cole. I'm gonna, stand up here and rock with Boogs. He's like, I want that, and that was totally, it made a difference when you don't hear that from McAfee. So anyway, that was good. All right, let's move forward. I think there's not much to say here other than Boogs look great, and I'm liking what they're doing with the character.
On the Boogs. Then we move on. Rollins talks about how he's watched the Edge match over and over, and he's learned, and he's going to use those lessons on Cesaro in this match next. Good match. It was a rematch of the WrestleMania match between Seth Rollins and Cesaro. Seth looked pretty.
Why?
So I made a good point. I was looking at online, and they were saying Cesaro has won his last 3 matches in a row by disqualification. What a record! No difference here, ladies and gentlemen.
Poor Cesaro.
It was a similar match to what you get all the time. Not bad, not the greatest, but you know what? They work well together, so good.
Right.
The story of this is more Rollins have Edge living in Rollins' head rent free. He's starting to just get a bit more aggressive, started doing a little more Edge mannerisms and Edge moves. Of course, he does the chair pole in the mouth, which they called like a Glasgow smile, and I'm here to say that's not a thing.
You can't call it Colombian necktie, so it might as well be a Glasgow smile.
Glasgow. That gets on my tits as well, how people say Glasgow. Like, fuck, no, Glasgow. Oh, no one says Glasgow. Glasgow. It's like people say Couris and they say Cull Ross. Well, that's a segment for another day. I'll tell you what, I'll have to look for these places and try and get you to pronounce them. We'll have a good laugh at that one.
Oh, I'll do that with you in like Texas and Louisiana places too. So.
Oh, totally. We should totally do that. We should get like a list and get them up and see what we can say. But yeah, it was like, it's not a Glasgow smile. Bearing in mind that Glasgow is a city predominantly recognised for stabbings rather than pulling faces off. Cool. No worries. Good match. So the whole point of this was Rollins putting on the punishment for Cesaro to try and bring out Edge for, I don't know if Edge and Cesaro are pals, but whatever. He kept shouting for Edge when he was on top of the offense. To the point where he did the Glasgow smile, was about to got disqualified. screamed at the Tron for Edge,
Mhm.
and then went back to dish out more damage.
The concerto. He went for the concerto,
Yeah.
and
Look at
then
that,
Edge
man.
comes out.
Nikki Crossman and Shimmer used to get mental at the announcer of throwing Wrestling in Glasgow. You're damn right she did. And you imagine you've got it's not even hard. That's the thing. You make the word harder for yourself by saying ow. There's more work involved. Say, oh. But yeah, but it was all bring out Edge, who came out and ran up. Well, he hits it. Edge comes to the ring with a chair to make the save. Rollins runs away. Not much to report on that sense, but it's setting up, which I thought was weird. It's setting up Edge versus Rollins on SmackDown next week.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how I feel about
Madison Square Garden. They're going to be live
Really
at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, there was a segment where I don't know if it happens later if we've already went past it, but it's Sonya Deville on the phone. It's like, oh my god, we've got so much happening. Brock Lesnar's going to be on. We're going to do the contract signing.
Oh yeah, that's at the end, right before the main event. Yeah,
and Naomi's like, hey, about that match, by the way, am I getting one? We'll talk about it later. By the way, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I know. Mind you, you have extreme rules coming in a couple of weeks, but no, let's focus on next week, Madison Square Garden. We all know that's Vince. That's the WWE's home arena. Vince's dad ran there. He ran there forever. So, I get that. Here's the thing that I struggled with this night in general. You're in Jacksonville, you're in the front yard of AEW, right? And you put on this show. Let's be honest here. You're in Allegiant Stadium. You're in a pretty good size arena here, and you put on this show. You're in AEW's front yard. You're in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And this made me go, you know what? I'm at my parents' house. Oh, Rampage is on. Let me go. We'll just wait for that. And I watched Rampage last night, and I'm going, and it was just a preview for this weekend's pay-per-view, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I did this.
Not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to All Out tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Boy. Ooh, yeah. It's a spicy meatball, that one.
You can see the last of Chris Jericho.
Yeah. That's true.
I
can't fathom it yet.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. I don't know if I'm ready. It's weird. Probably he's ready, but I'm not. I don't know if maybe he's got another match in him, maybe not. Good decision for him if he is going to go for it. It looks like he's putting his health first, but you've got like Jericho might be retiring. CM Punk's back in the ring. Daniel Bryan's supposedly going to be appearing at some point. So you go.
I would save that for New York. I would save that for that Arthur Ashe Stadium match.
That would be good. Yeah. And then you've got Omega and Christian, which should be fun in itself. We've already seen it. The tag title match in the cage.
Right.
Is that big? Have they guys had a tag title match or a match with the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros? Is that the third year in a row this match is happening? Because I could have sworn, was it last year they had the ladder match?
Yeah. No, they've
done every All Out in matches, have they not?
I think so. Hell.
That's a saga. That's a saga and a half. That.
Yeah.
It dawned on me the other day. I was like, that's a lot of All Out matches they've had. And they only face each other at All Out as well. They don't usually do other things.
Right.
So that's looking good. What else is on that card? John Moxley and Kojima.
Yeah, you know me, I love New Japan. So, which, by the way, they're running here in Dallas, and I'm going to get that because Minoru Suzuki is wrestling, and if there's an opportunity to watch him live wrestling and to be able to get Canzaniere, we'll be able to do that, and to be able to maybe meet the murder, the murder grandpa. Of course, I would not call that to his face because he would murder me. I'm like, I have to tell my kid, Jacob, do not call him murder grandpa. Whatever you do, don't say it to his face. Hopefully there's a meet and greet. No, maybe there's a meet and greet. We'll probably go to the Sunday show on the 26th and go watch because I know him and Lance are wrestling in a tag team match against Tom Lawler and some other guy from Team Filthy, and so. I want to do that. And of course, maybe I'll get to meet him because of a meet and greet, or maybe I might, say, hey, Lance, you want to hook a brother up and help me get a bucket list item of meeting Minoru Suzuki? That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see. But, to be able to do that live, I'm going to go look at tickets this weekend. And since my credit card bill has been paid up and I'm at a zero balance, I can go look at that. Front row tickets are only like $150, for front row. So,
Danger zone.
Yeah. Which is not bad, really, if you think about it, for front row watching, it's TV tapings. It's not like you're watching a live event. There's 2-day TV taping event for New Japan Strong. But still, my buddy Barrett Brown's going to be in that show as well. So,
yeah,
for $150, it's going to be worth it for me. So, granted, it's an hour and a half, 2-hour drive across town to go from Weatherford to Garland. And so, just outside of Dallas on the east side of town to just outside. I live on the west side of Fort Worth. So, but I'll do it. Why not? When will I get to see Minoru Suzuki in the United States live?
Good question.
So,
anyhow, take every chance you can.
Exactly. As we take every chance we can to avoid keep talking about SmackDown. So,
oh man, it goes a bit downhill from here after that Edge segment. Although I do like this segment that came up backstage. Reigns given the Usos marching orders for later tonight. Reigns, Heyman comes in, talks to Reigns about having a problem, and he's like, "Nah, man, like I'm gonna win. I'm gonna smash Finn Balor. Right. It's all good." It's like, no, we've got a problem with Brock Lesnar. It's like, no, you've got a problem with Brock Lesnar. I love that. And it's not even like a turn it on him. He's just sitting there smiling going, you're right, mate. Good luck. Good luck with that one. How are you going to deal with that? No help whatsoever. But Heyman's like, Brock Lesnar's on the phone. He says he's going to be at Madison Square Garden next week. They're building Madison Square Garden some more. But then Reigns comes out with a corker of a line, a proper like cock tickler, this one. And he goes, Lesnar might be here tonight. I was like, I got excited a little bit. I was like, oh my goodness. A proper old school trick. He's like, what if he's here now? Okay. Because I think because they made a whole thing about like, does he even watch SmackDown? It's like, I think Fox is big in Saskatchewan. It's like,
yeah.
They've got Fox in Saskatchewan. It's like, oh, maybe he's in Minnesota then.
Yeah.
And he's like, he could be here. Like, I thought that was pretty smart how they had a wee line about Saskatchewan in there. So we teased up Brock Lesnar next week. Happy Corbin has a Rolls Royce now. What is he doing over the next?
Well, he had it last week.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did, because that was the start of the Happy Corbin thing, and he went to the casino and won and all that, and so they thought it was Brock Lesnar pulling up. And it was Happy Corbin, and they started this whole Happy Corbin thing because of it being in Vegas and winning money and all this. And then that was when I saw that, I was like, oh, there still is Happy Corbin, because they established that turnaround. Yeah,
quite a turnaround in character for him. What he's done here, because he went from like having nothing to he's now the richest man in the world, apparently.
Well, here's the thing. He legit won in Vegas. He won some big money in Vegas.
Actual money that he won.
Yeah, because he posted it on his social media.
I had like $100. It was like, I just won $100. I'm gonna buy a steak and a shirt.
But yeah, he did. He won some legitimate money in Vegas, and so that's and I mean, you can't fake winning money in Vegas,
No,
I mean,
you can't mix that. You can't mess that up, like.
Yeah, so I think that's why the shift in the character came.
I know. I love the photo of him after he put that up, and he's like having the steak dinner, and he's got like 2 women on his either side, but he's still wearing the fucked up shirt.
Yeah,
he's doing it. It's like, it's like you're still looking poor, mate.
Yeah, but then he's like, "Oh, my wife," and I'm like, "How did that wife like that picture of you with 2 women on you, either side of you, kind of thing?" Yeah,
totally. But it's all leading to this Kevin Owens show segment where Corbin joins him in the ring, and he hugs Owens, and Owens looks absolutely raged about it. And then Corbin gloats about everything he's done. The money he's won, how much money he's made. He's got he's got this fancy jacket. He's got a Rolls Royce. He's got a Rolex watch. It's like, I got like 25,000. No, it was like some crazy amount of money. He came out with like $400,000 or something like that. I was like, oh,
right.
oh, this guy's making them good money. Sounds
the Wagyu beef, the A5 Wagyu Japanese beef.
I love this from Corbin. I really did. You could tell he was having fun, and I was like, if he's having fun, I'm having fun because this is the most personality I've seen from Corbin.
Right.
Without a doubt, like when he's coming out with this, it was just, it didn't sound forced. It didn't sound like, It was like he's got the funny shoes on. He's having a laugh tonight.
Yeah, he really is.
It really did come out. He talked about the Wagyu beef and all the cars and all that stuff, and then he brings out his special guest, his friend Logan Paul, who got mad heat when he mentioned Jake Paul beating Tyron Woodley. What are your thoughts on it? Did you watch it? Did you watch the fight?
No.
Fuck
no, it's a clown show. These guys are clowns, and I mean, you can't tell me. You can't tell me Tyron Woodley couldn't knock that dude out. You can't tell me Floyd Mayweather couldn't have knocked Logan Paul out.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, they just look like worked shows. Really.
Yeah, I think Tyron Woodley was more like he fucked it for himself because he had Jake right there. He had him right there. He had this issue when he fought for his last few times in the UFC. He doesn't want to get caught. He just wants to sit back, count you in the counter, and then just kind of like, he's got him, but you don't. That's usually sometimes your most dangerous when you start throwing back, and he doesn't like to get a hit. I think that's what came into play. That sort of forced a habit where he's like stepping back. But he did the weird bolo punch thing as well. I was like, you're an arse. Finish it off, end it. And to be fair to Jake Paul, I will give him his due because he boxed his way out of that situation where he got battered. He had to stick with it and then stuck with his fundamentals and outboxed Tyron Woodley, which granted, Woodley's not a boxer.
Right.
But fair fucks him for surviving a shot like that. Not a lot of people get to do that.
Right.
But,
no, you're right.
It's a clown show. It was a bit of a clown show. I wasn't a big fan of it. The reason I'm leaning towards it not being a work as such is because Woodley was so desperate to get the rematch off the back of that. To the fact he was willing to get a tattoo for it. I'm like, Woodley, mate, call it a day. Just walk away. Bare knuckle boxing is at best, man, but walk away. Walk away from that. Logan Paul got mad heat for bringing that up, even though he legitimately won that one. I thought he would have brought up the Mayweather thing more, but hey ho. Oh no, Corbin brought up the Mayweather thing. I'll tell a lie.
Right.
He said he held on with Mayweather, and he talks about his brother. Owen says it makes sense that Paul and Corbin are friends because they're both scumbags and waste of space. Then Jake Paul takes umbrage with that, pushes Owens over, and you sort of tease like a clash, a coming together, and just as Owens is about to go for Logan Paul again, by the way. A bit of recall from WrestleMania. Corbin just smacks Kevin Owens in the neck with a microphone and chokeslams him. End of segment. Hooray! Yeah. Heel stuff. Yay. Good heel heat for Corbin. I've got nothing wrong with this segment. Well, it's a bit contrived to get to where we are, but it was a good segment all the same. It done the job. For me, it got me up for a Corbin and Kevin Owens feud. They'll do quite well. If Corbin's going to be doing promos like this for a while, then quality. I
agree.
Interesting that Logan Paul's involved.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he stuck around, to be honest with you. I thought it would be a one and done, but it's interesting to see that they're utilizing him and
giving him a chance.
Heat magnet for sure. But is he going to be one of those guys that brings the heat but never gets touched or never gets his comeuppance because he's not a trained wrestler?
I think he will because he took the stunner at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but that's just like one thing, taking a stunner is, they say it's not that hard. You just flop and, however you flop is what you do. So it's more of, I guess, to me, the whole purpose is we want to see, when you get heat on a guy, you want to see him get beat. You want to see him get whooped. You want to see him get torn up. And how are you going to do that with Logan Paul? It's not going to work if it's de facto through Happy Corbin. So, but I get it. I see where they're going. Get the guy training, to be a wrestler, and we'll get involved in an angle, and we'll get to see him get beat. I don't know, but it's interesting because this is something that maybe we'll get that I wasn't sure about to begin with, but I'm kind of liking the build. Again, out of nowhere kind of thing. It's not established, but hey, we're building something out of nowhere that I'm going, okay, kind of cool, not bad.
And it's a nice little crease in it there because he thanks Kevin Owens for giving him that $100.
Right.
So this is almost where it's began. It's like, and he was like, "Oh, I was going to give you it back, but it's in my Rolls Royce."
Yeah.
I was like, champion.
And then what Logan tried to give it to him, he's like, "I think you need this more than I do," or something like that.
Yeah. I was like, total shithousery. I was here for it. I was like, brilliant. Yeah. So I'll be interested to hear how that goes. I'm looking forward to that. Other side of that coin, finally we're talking about the Kevin Owens and Logan Paul thing. The other side of the coin at WrestleMania was Sami Zayn. Yeah. I care not for this match.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn and Dominic Mysterio ends in Sami Zayn winning because of Rey Mysterio. 2 weeks in a row. A distraction win because Rey comes out because Dominic's struggling for whatever reason. And got some.
But Rey was going to let him be his own man.
Oh, boy.
He comes out second week in a row, causes a distraction.
Because Dominic was doing okay for the most part until that point, weirdly. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what I can tell they're leading to a feud between the two. I'm just not here for it. It just doesn't feel right. It feels weird. I don't know if I don't know how you do it. Like, I know you can make it a bit more complex and try and make it more of a passing of the torch kind of match. Dominic trying to prove himself that he can do it himself. But this is WWE. They'll be like, turn him heel. let's get some heel heat on Mysterio. Let's beat him up. You're not my dad anymore. Eddie Guerrero was always a real dad.
Right.
All that stuff. Bring up the briefcase shit again. You're like, oh god. Oh man. I don't have anything to say about this. I really don't. It's come out of nowhere from last week. It's a bit of a repeat from last week for my liking. Didn't really change anything.
They didn't do anything different. And I mean, that's the thing is, I know we knew that this is where they were heading, but the problem is they've poorly executed getting there to begin with. Yeah. And you've done the same thing 2 weeks in a row. Because I missed last week, I'm seeing it again this week. But you see this a lot with WWE. They're rehashing things. Seth Rollins, Cesaro, Seth Rollins, Edge. It's like they get stuck in this run on these things, and they don't know how to get out of them. I mean, let's be honest. The Edge Rollins thing should have been done. Should have been over.
Oh, gone. Like, I don't mind it. I don't mind them doing another match at like Extreme Rules, but the way they're doing it's maybe not the way I would have liked it. You could have just, I don't know, do like, what was it? I'm trying to think who it would have been. Remember when this weird reference sprang out of nowhere? But do you remember when Sheamus fought Triple H? And it was like 2008.
Okay.
And Triple H was like injured, or that was the storyline. Like Sheamus brutally injured Triple H, and Triple H came back too soon to try and get revenge. And we had that match, and she was, why can you not do something similar to that? Edge coming out for a segment, Rollins attacks him, finally gets that curb stomp on him to damage Edge's neck. That's a part of contention, and then have Edge come back too soon and try and get retribution for that. Like, turn up the heat a little bit. You don't have to have like the Cesaro thing,
right?
Because we're burning the talent just to get to another match that was already there. Let the two do their own thing. Let the two do their own thing because they can. And they did a good match at SummerSlam. It was an all right match. It wasn't the best match, but it was a good match. Quite like what they did. But where are we? Yeah. So the Mysterio thing was just, it didn't do it for me. I can see the blow off happening next week if there is a blow off because it's Madison Square Garden. Ooh,
yeah,
they're putting a lot of investment in Madison Square Garden, even though the biggest shows have already happened the week prior or 2 weeks prior, and Sunday coming. They're a bit lost they're a bit lost on what they're doing here.
Yeah,
and they've got the whole NXT thing. That's something we never really talked about. The rebranding of NXT, they revealed how the set was going to look in a brief little thing. Awfully bright. Bright. I don't even know what to say. I went blank for a second. They're a bit of a hodgepodge. Vince is getting involved in NXT now. Bruce Pritchard's going to be there with them. What was that?
Because they have nothing better to do because they're not busy at all.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? Last night, Ben had a good idea. Have all the female wrestlers seduce Dominic or make him a pig like Dolph Ziggler scoring every check. Oh, man. I quite like the idea of like the cute guy thing where all the girls are just sort of like, oh, look, oh, yeah. Like trying to get a bit of action, but maybe he gets a bit big for his boots a little bit. I don't mind that. I can get into that. I quite like it. We need something. We need a bit of flavour in this because it's going to blow off and it's going to be. I don't know where. At least this feels like a match that's happening too soon. You could have got this at WrestleMania or Survivor Series or something like that.
Exactly.
But, so who knows? Let's just get to the end because this SmackDown's fuck me dead.
Yeah.
Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title. My God, we needed a match. We needed something. We need something. And good main event. A very good main event. So Jimmy and Jay attack Finn Balor at the beginning. Street Profits come and run them off. So we've already kind of established it. Balor's going to be 100% for this one.
Right.
But good match.
Yeah.
For kind of an injury angle with the medical staff checking him on, making him look like a fighting baby face because he's like, no, I'm coming. I'm gonna take him on. I'm gonna
do this. I'm gonna do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but then here's my problem. Okay, so they said the damage is in the ribs. All right, and so and then you watch what they do. You know, and you're just going, if you got hurt ribs, you're not doing half the stuff that he's doing.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just a regular match.
Yeah. You know, it's like. I need some selling. Like you go to do a suplex and you can't because your side hurts. You try to go to the up top for the coup de grace and you take a little longer because it hurts to climb the ropes. You know, things like that. I mean, I needed more of just like, oh, you know. I mean, I get
more of a grind.
Yeah,
more of a grind.
You know, which you know it should, and that should have been the thing. Roman should have been focusing on those ribs and making them hurt, doing an abdominal stretch, doing some things on there to make it even worse, because that's what the selling was the ribs. And so that was my only problem with the match. It was a good match. It could have gone with, I mean, really, let's be honest, based off of the way the match went, it didn't need the injury angle, because it was just a good match. But I understand what they're trying to do, develop heat with the bloodline and, the Usos and Roman Reigns and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But if you're not going to really sell the ribs, why do the angle?
Yeah, I suppose they wanted to do like an easy out as well for Finn, for what comes up later on. Got the guillotine finish on Finn Balor. I'm a bit mixed with it because I like he's holding Finn doing the guillotine thing, but he doesn't get his legs in. He doesn't. Right. He doesn't cross. He doesn't keep him in there. He doesn't sink it in. He's just standing up. And I thought, come on, give him that. Give him something. Like make it seem like you're putting a bit of effort, put a bit of extra oomph into the submission, because it just looks like Finn just drops off dead.
Right.
Good for Roman Reigns. I saw someone in the Hammy Media group say they were getting bored of this. I don't necessarily agree with that. Who else is there?
Right.
This is the question. This is the big $1 million question: is Roman? If you don't want Roman Reigns as champ, who else do you get? Because the way this is going, you have to make someone out of this.
Right.
You can't just give it to anyone. You can't have a by the way. You can't do a Jinder Mahal and AJ Styles. Basically, you need to make someone. Yeah. You need to do this. So it's like it's happening at a big event. It's going to be. Apparently the plan originally was going to be the Rock at WrestleMania next year. But the chat coming out now is because of COVID, all the shows getting put back a year. Hollywood's going to be at 2023 now. Right. Brock Lesnar's the guy for WrestleMania. Weird, but when I say that, you think, okay, that's weird because they're building Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns as a feud now. So how do you stretch that to WrestleMania?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they could do stuff in between. They could kind of mix it up and do other things, but right now, I don't know. It seems like I get it, but that's the third time they'll face each other at WrestleMania. Different dynamic, obviously, but this is becoming a bit of a 2-yearly thing now. This is just so placeholder feud, but I just thought I'd bring that out there as well because that's a story that they're saying. You can't really see Roman losing to Brock. That one, but then the Rock you didn't necessarily have to have the title for. So, people thinking Rock will be at WrestleMania. I would like to see The Rock at WrestleMania, but I suppose it's up to him. That was the other thing that was being said. It's up to what The Rock wants to do. If he wants to do it WrestleMania next year, he'll do it. If not, it'll be the following year.
Right. Because The Rock's going to do what The Rock's going to do. I mean, at this point, really, it's what it is. So
he wants to do movies and Instagram posts. You got to try and get in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Did you see that one he done the other day? And it was him just driving about, and then just parks up next to a tour bus, like, "Hey guys, how's it going?"
Yeah. Because he's like, this tour bus is always in my neighborhood. So
they just lost their minds. He's like, I'll get. And they were just like, take your photos. It's cool. I'll just hang here. Yeah. Just with my Instagram people here.
Yeah. I mean, just okay. That's he just again proves I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And so that's the thing is I can understand that with but how do you get there? Are you going to burn Brock Lesnar right now and use him and have Roman Reigns beat him so that you can set up The Rock at WrestleMania? I mean, that doesn't seem right to me at all. But I don't see how you can stretch this to WrestleMania either. Like you said, I don't see how that works.
And then we have the other problem of Big E having the contract right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, within his rights, you could cash in on the Raw champion as well. So there's still that option, and we could reunite the New Day. But I suppose that's another problem because we've got Bobby Lashley on the other side. Which one? Yeah. Which one do you take the title off first? It's a good headache to have because I would take it off neither just now. They're both looking pretty damn solid as champ. So tough time for Big E. Back to this match last night. We had Reigns getting the win. Something very interesting. We talk about like future opponents for Roman Reigns. A brief moment as he was leaving the ring, the lights went red, the heartbeat sounds were made, and then things went back to normal. Speculation is that Finn Balor could be bringing back the Demon.
You think?
I don't want to see the Demon. I think he's doing great as he is.
Like what's the Demon going to do? What's the Demon going to do?
But he's supposed to be more powerful. Ooh. Okay. Does the same things, but better.
Okay. All right.
Like, I like this. I like not the idea of the Demon as such, but I like that. I like the idea of Finn tapping into like another edge to him. Because like that's what he used to do in Japan, where he did the independent scene. Like when he really wanted to make a big occasion, he would put the body paint on. He would put he would do other things. He'd have like the Joker, or he would do Venom, or he'll do all these sort of things. Or Darth Maul. That was my favorite one. He done one of my favorite ones we did for ICW. He done it himself up as Darth Maul. That looked class. And he would just pretty much similar to what he did with the Demon, without the sort of Demon mannerisms. It just had like a more gritty match for it. I like that side of him, and I wish they kind of brought it back rather than doing this generic Demon thing, because I know it's like to sell toys and stuff like that, gimmicks, but he's above this now. He's above this
5 or 6 years now. It's been 5 or 6 years since we've seen the Demon to begin with. So like you say, he's above this now. So I don't know. It's one of those things to where
unless it's supposed to be a Brock Lesnar thing. Like the lights was going down, and it was like because it's Brock Lesnar's music and it goes red. Maybe that. Maybe
because Brock's lurking. Like they said, Brock's lurking at Madison Square. And he'll be at Madison Square Garden next week. They said that live at Madison Square Garden next week. He's there. Maybe that's what it was more than that. Yeah.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait. Yeah. Paul Heyman is going to be that's the episode right there. Mm-hmm. You build it up for the main event segment, and let's see what Paul Heyman does.
Right.
Fuck everyone else. That's all I'm interested in next week. Like, ooh. Casper, I didn't email, guys. No fridge photos. I ate my pizzas. God damn you, Canada Spaceman. How dare you eat your own purchased pizzas and don't tell us about them. But I suppose that's a good time to kind of close this show off. It was a bit of a lackluster SmackDown. All eyes on Madison Square Garden next week. Half an eye on John's gone. Where's he gone now? He just disappeared. We half an eye on Extreme Rules as well. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how they play this one out. It could be an eventful SmackDown, all things considered. They're trying to build it up as such for that there. So we'll see how things go. John has just dipped off the face of the earth right now. Let's see if we can get him back. Where is he gone? Let me have a look here. Where is he gone? John and Right. No, here we go. There he is. Hello. You disappeared on me.
Sorry, my phone just decided to restart.
That's cool.
That was awesome.
I was just kind of closing off saying all eyes on Madison Square Garden. We've got half an eye on Extreme Rules. It looks like they're going to go all out on this one next week, ironically, because all out is on Sunday, but they're really going to push the boat out on a big show for next week, hopefully. Would you say you're excited for Madison Square Garden next week? Oh no, you can't hear me. Oh Jesus. He's gone. So yeah.
All right.
Are you there? This is great radio. If you're not.
All right. Anyway,
there we go. Can you hear me now?
All right, man. I guess I'm having issues. I'm gonna have to let you go. We were gonna talk about Daphne. I do want to say this real quick.
Yeah, I'll let you go. Hey.
All right. I'm having issues. I'll let you go. But I was going to say, it's sad to see the Daphne thing this week. If you guys need help with mental health, don't be afraid to email me, john@freedomhousepc.org, if you're hearing me. I don't know if you can or not. But, it was a tragic event. So guys, reach out. Get help. September is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. Our goal this month is to definitely have Jackson Stone on to talk about You Are Love Life and what he's doing. Many of you may not know, yesterday was the anniversary of his sister dying of suicide. So if you can, send him some extra love today, because he's dealing with a lot of that in the memory of that still. So make sure you show him some love, and we are definitely going to work on getting him on this month to talk about that. So sorry guys, again, thank you for letting me be a part of your show and being part of this with you guys. And I will see you next week, and I will be in my proper place at my proper time with my proper setup. So, James, thank you, my friend, and I will let you close out the show, and I will see you next week.
Thank you, John. It's been a pleasure talking to you as always. Well, I'll see you next week for that. Yeah, this is an unprecedented way that we're ending the show. I tell you what, if you're getting some comments in while I'm reading these out, I'll get through the plugs and the other social media stuff, and then we'll head on out. So if you've got any questions or anything you want to fire my way before I go, I'll answer them for that there, because there's still a few in the chat for that there. So anyway, we'd love to hear from you in the show. If you're not on the live chat, if you're listening to us after the show, if you're listening to us after everything we've done, if it's on YouTube, watching the video, or if you find us on anything on the Patreon feed, there's many ways you can get in touch with us if you're not on the live chat. You can email us at smackattackhammemedia@gmail.com if you want to get in touch with us directly. It's all down here on the ticker below. Tweet us at smackattackhmg. You can also find us on the Hammy Media discussion group on Facebook. You can find that there. So if you're watching this now, if you're listening to us on Patreon, if we finally find ourselves on the Realm Network and you're listening to us here, if you're not part of that group, well, why are you not on there? There's so much content you can get involved with there. There is pick'ems. There's news stories from William Alessier, who's always way ahead of the game with some of the news stories. So if you want to get involved in wrestling stories and find out what's going on, be there and listen to what he's got on offer. Sometimes he does some silly stuff as well. Just keep an eye out for that there. He's a bit funny on the AEW side of things. So there's loads of stuff there. People love to get their opinions out on all things wrestling. We've seen some conspiracy theory stuff, pro wrestling stuff. People talk about films, MMAs. I've said about the pick'ems as well. We do have pick'em league for WWE pay-per-views every month. We did the SummerSlam one just a few weeks ago. My score was looking pretty decent until Ben beat me, but that's neither here nor there. We do live discussions on pay-per-views. So this weekend we've got All Out coming out. We're all going to be there. We're all going to be talking about what happens. CM Punk's first match in 7 years. So it's going to be great to talk about that as well. So get involved, get part of the team, part of the crew. Once we're back up and running, the Realm Network is the place to be for all things Hammy Media Group. You can find a subscription there, and we've got all types of content at the moment. Now we are on Patreon, Hammy Media Group on Patreon, so you can find us here. Look for Hammy Media Group. I think a lot of our shows just now are free. Things like the Smack Attack. I might be wrong with that, so don't shoot the message if I'm wrong. At the moment, I think we are currently a free show on Patreon. That may change when we go to the Realm Network. I don't know when that's happening. I don't know when we're going to go back. So I'm going to relish these live shows as much as we can. So do all you can on there. We'll also talk about the Hammy Media Group Affiliates channel. That is still free. That's still available for you right now, wherever you get your podcasts from Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever. Hammy Media Group. There's so many great podcasts that you'll find on here. John Enright's very own Star Trek podcast, the Academy podcast, with delving into all things Star Trek. I had a great episode 2 weeks ago with Big Ray talking about his experience watching Star Trek for Next Generation for the first time. Somebody's never done that there, so he got us involved with that. We've got the we've got Star Wars podcast, we've got Suck My Balls, the South Park podcast. I'm losing weight. No, John, I can't deal with this. There's no John Enright here, so I'm on my own trying to figure this out. But there's so much content to get involved, so be part of the crew, part of the gang. I think, let's see, are there any other questions going on in the chat? I think we're all saying our goodbyes for that. Yeah. I keep getting this guy and Colin confused. What? You don't confuse me with Colin. I'm not White. I'm not Colin Wysong. How dare you? I'm not having that. I'm not having that at all. I'll take umbrage with that. But you know what? I'm going to drop out of here before this goes even further south than it has already. For that, yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. It's great to be back. We look forward to seeing you every weekend as we do the Smack Attack there. Following on from the Daphne stuff, make sure you're looking after yourself. If there's any time where you're feeling a bit down, we always try and keep ourselves open. I think John might have mentioned it, but he's always available. If you follow him on Twitter, Facebook, if you're friends with him there, he's open to be spoken to or get in touch for that as well. Jackson Stone's You Are Loved at You Are Loved Life on Twitter. youarelovedlife.com is the website. So if you've got any issues with mental health, anything you're struggling with, use those resources as much as you can. We're here for you. We want you here. That's the good thing about the community on the Smack Attack. I see it all the time. When you guys come on and talk to each other and start chatting, you get involved, you check up on each other, see how you're doing, have this nice rapport. I love to see it, and that's the kind of thing that I want to see with the Smack Attack. That's the kind of thing that we want to build. So that's why we try and build our whole emphasis on mental health and looking after yourself. And the Daphne situation is tragic in its own thing. So it's very important that we take a step back, reflect on that, and just remember that there's more to this world than you think. You're not on your own. No one should be on their own for that. So if you at the moment feel like you're alone, there's something wrong, you're not. There's people that want you here. They will look for you. They'll be there. They'll support you as much as they can. So keep that in mind. I'm going to close on that. I'm going to try and close on a good note for that there as well. So make sure you look after each other. Be good to yourselves. I can't wait to see you next week where we do Smackdown in Madison Square Garden. Oh boy, it can only get better from here, can't it? So you take care of yourself, and we'll see you next week for another edition of the Smack Attack. Cheery!